Thank you for watching this video tour of Required Systems Compliance Declaration Audit tool. My name is Gordon and I'll be taking you through this tour of the software. This software has been developed with health and social care experts, care home managers and experienced care home inspectors and auditors to allow care home owners and managers to demonstrate how their care home meets the requirements of the Health and Social Care Act 2008. Once you have purchased the software from the Required Systems website and installed it on your computer, the software will open on this home screen here. Depending on which version of the software you've bought, you'll either have access to multiple audit tools or just a single audit tool. The one which has multiple audit tools, which is this version here, has these two buttons here, New and Open. Let's have a look at the CQC Outcomes and Audit Tool tab here. When we click on this tab, the screen splits into two areas. On the left hand side here, we have a list of all the 28 CQC outcomes listed in order. On the right hand side of the screen here, we have a grid which shows compliance requirements, evidence to show compliance, a place for you to put in further actions required, by whom, a target date, and a tick box to say if it's been completed. As you click on each one of the outcomes, you'll notice that the grid on the right changes. However, before we start filling in these grids, let's put in the details of our care home. Let's click on the Care Home Details tab here. This opens up a screen where we can enter in the home name, the address and other details, and we can set an audit date. I'm just going to set an audit date for the 1st of October 2011. This button here allows us to set a target date to be the same as the audit date for all entries on the grids. By clicking this, it will automatically populate the target date field with the audit date. You can do this now, or you can put in the target dates manually later. Okay, I'm just going to type in the name of my home here, which is going to be just a demo home. And I am going to set my target dates to be the same as my audit date throughout the grids. So I click on there, say yes. Finally, I just save the information on the screen, and now I'll go back to the home screen. Before you start filling in the grids with your information, you should read the important information contained in this piece of software. Clicking this button gives you a document which gives you helpful advice on how to complete the Compliance Declaration Audit tool. Clicking the back button closes the document. Okay, let's now have a look then at our CQC Outcomes and Audit tool. And the first thing you notice is that all of the grids have turned amber. If we click our way through here, you'll notice these are all amber. The reason they are all amber is because we have set a target date for all of these requirements. The target date is still in the future, and we haven't completed any of the actions, so therefore they are amber. The key at the top of the screen tells us what each of the colours mean. If the grid is white, or one of the rows is white, it means we haven't done anything with that row at all. If it's amber, it means it's incomplete, but still within the target date. If it's red, it means that we have gone beyond the target date and haven't completed any actions that were required to be done by the target date. If it's green, that means everything has been completed, we're compliant for that particular requirement, and everything is fine. Okay, let's start entering some data into our grid and see what happens. Let's click on the first outcome here, respecting and involving people, and it says here that the home has a statement of purpose which is up to date. Well, in my example, this statement needs a review. So we click in this box here and type in statement needs review. When we type into these cells, it's just like typing into any word processor. All the usual features, cut, paste and copy and delete, all work. The only thing you have to be careful of is when you hit the return key or the enter key. When you hit the enter key, you move on to the next cell below and move down through the grid. You can use the arrow keys to move back up, or you can just click using the mouse. If you want to move on to a new line within a cell, then you use the tip which is mentioned up here, and that is put your finger on the shift key, hit the enter button and then start typing again, and you can go on to the next line. Okay, we've entered in what our action is, and we'll now say by whom, and it will be done by the manager. We've said what the action is, we've said who has to do it, we've got a target date in here, so let's just save that piece of information. So that information has now been added to the audit document. We could now move on and do the next entry, and we could work our way down through the various outcomes on the list here and the various requirements here. Let's go back to our first one again. Let's say that the manager has reviewed the document, it has been done, everything's been brought up to date, so this is now a complete action. So we tick on the complete button, save this information, and immediately it turns green, showing that everything there is now compliant. So, when do we see red? Well, let's go to another example. Let's go down to this one here, and let me change the target date here. And I'm going to change it to a date which is before today's date. So what we're saying here is that there may well be an action in here and someone to perform an action, but we have gone beyond the target date for it to get done. Let me just save that information, and of course as soon as I save it, it goes red to show that this particular requirement is out of date. Once the work has been done in this to make it compliant, we just tick the box here, save the information, and it will turn green as well. I'm going to untick that for the moment because I'm wanting to use this to demonstrate something later. I'll leave that one red. If some of the requirements are already compliant, then all we need to do is click on the completed buttons and then save it, and that will turn them all green. If there are no actions required, ticking this makes them green. Let's return now to the Home tab. One of the nice features built into this software is the ability to perform a search and replace. We can access that by clicking on the tab here. This opens up a standard search and replace window where you can type in a string you're searching for and a string you want to replace it. We can select to replace only within the evidence that shows compliance, or we can do it within the compliance requirements. Let's have a look now at the Outstanding Tasks tab. Clicking on here, this opens up a window which shows you three different things. It can show you the tasks which are still in date, tasks which are time expired, and tasks which are incomplete. Let's look at the still in date ones first. This simply means we haven't reached the target date for these outcomes, so therefore we've still got time to complete the actions and make them compliant. If we click on time expired, we come up with the ones which are red, which means that we've gone beyond the target date and haven't made these compliant. Incomplete simply means that there are areas which have nothing in them, so if there is an action required, the action should be put in here and the person who's responsible for that action. Let's return to the home screen again. As I said earlier, there are two versions of this software. There's a version which creates a single audit document, and there's another version which allows you to work on multiple audit documents. This version is a multiple version. Let me show you how you create a new audit document. We click on the New button here, and we're asked to say what's the name of this new audit document. I'm just going to call it Audit 3. You can browse to where you want to save it. I'll just save it in My Documents. But you could save it on a network, you could save it in a share so other people can get access to it. Once I create the new audit document, a brand new empty audit document is created and displayed. Notice it's all white here, there's nothing been put in, no target dates, no details of the home or anything. So we've created a new audit document ready to start working on for a different audit. Going back to the home, you'll now notice that it says here I'm working on the audit document called Audit 3. If I want to go back to my previous audit document, I go to Open and I browse to where I saved it and open it up. And there's the one I was working on previously. You'll notice that on every screen you'll get a print button here. Clicking on this print button brings up a message which asks if you want to print in colour or just in black and white. Choice is yours. I'll just say no to this and print it in black and white. What this brings up is a printer-friendly version of the grid which can be printed out and stored for evidence. There's much more about printing and using this report tool in the second video which you can watch after this. So that's the Required Systems Compliance Declaration Audit tool. It comes with all of the 28 CQC outcomes listed, all of the compliance requirements, pre-populated with evidence to show compliance. All you have to do is fill in any actions, decide who's to do the action, and once it's completed, tick the complete button.